Hey everybody, this is Kohdok here, and today is my birthday! I am so excited for my birthday. I am certain that all sorts of awesome things are going to be landing at my doorstep any minute now, and I'm going to review the first thing that shows up. I think that might be it! Hey, Guess I'm talking about Beyblades. Oh, somebody already put out my arena for me. Lucky me. So it looks like we're talking Beyblades today. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you remember what Beyblades are, these sort of plastic and metal tops that have these explosive battles in these sorts of plastic arenas. They actually had a pretty good run in America a couple of years back, despite Hasbro's best efforts. And they're going to be having a reboot towards the end of this year with Beyblade Burst. Now, Beyblade Burst has actually already been out in Japan for about a year already, where it's known as Beyblade Burst. Well, that's handy. Now, unlike the previous metal fight Beyblades, these go back to an older tradition of having mostly plastic bodies. However, unlike the old plastic tops, they're more the size of the metal fight Beyblades, being a lot more compact. Although when I first received the Beyblade, the thing that actually really caught my attention was the launcher. I mean, look at this thing. Not only is it enormous, but it's got this incredibly clean-looking gray and white aesthetic that is just dripping with all of these hard points. I just love it. And not to mention, because of the color scheme, it doesn't look like this silly, childish, colorful things we'd normally get in the tops. It looks like some serious business. Now, the big hard point in the center here is actually meant to hold something called a Bey Logger, which is a fancy electronic gadget similar to the Bey Pointer you would have gotten in Metal Fight Beyblade. Now, I'm sure a lot of you people who watched the Metal Fusion show remember that all the characters carried around these things that registered points, but it was never actually released. However, those things actually were released in Japan because, get this, they have Beyblade Organized Play over there. Yeah, it's insane over there. It has things like rankings and real prizes. The Bey Logger is the updated version of the point system, and what it does is it helps you calculate points and wins and losses and stuff like that, and it actually connects to a smartphone in order to help it calculate all of that. I imagine, based on the alternating black and white circles on the launcher, that it can also count RPMs. Now, the Bey Pointer got skipped in the United States, and I would not be surprised if the Bey Logger experiences the same fate, but then again, I might be surprised. Now, unlike the complexity of the Metal Fight Beyblades, the Beyblade Burst Tops only come in 3 pieces. The top plastic disc is the one that will do most of the clashing and fighting, and is made in the style of a big clear plastic window underneath which you can see the image of the warrior inside. In this case, it's a Valkyrie's helmet. In the middle, of course, is your metal weight disc. This is what allows the tops to spin so long and aggressively. And the bottom is the performance tip. Like a lot of the 4D blades, this is all one piece, and it actually contains the ratchet system that triggers the top's gimmick. The gimmick, yeah, I'm sure you're all wondering why it's called Beyblade Burst. And that's because the tops explode. Yeah, unlike the Metal Fight series, these Beyblade Burst Tops actually have a gimmick where they will eventually, after enough heavy hits, come apart and burst all over the arena. Now, this gimmick is designed to make the fights more exciting, with the losing tops exploding in pieces all over the stadium while the winner dances around its grave. Of course, that means it is absolutely no match for any previous Beyblade ever put out, because they are all bolted together. Then again, that's not really the point. It's meant to be a reboot with kind of an exciting gimmick that can really prevent the long, dragged-out battles we're used to from Metal Fight. Heck, defense types are actually playable again. Now, this gimmick is actually a bit of a double-edged sword. I mean, you get to thrill at the excitement of the Beyblades exploding into pieces, but then you have to realize that you gotta put them back together again. I mean, fortunately, that's not too hard to do. You can pretty much just wind the top together in a few seconds, but really it's fishing out the parts that can sometimes go all over the place that are the problem. So yeah, the Beyblade Burst gimmick is a bit of a mixed bag. I went and asked the Beyblade community what they thought of it, and the general consensus was, don't buy Spriggan. Okay, I won't. But yeah, Spriggan is this kind of top that's become kind of the butt of a bunch of jokes in the community because it's just terrible. It cannot win a single match effectively. I mean, come on, even the trailer for the anime knows it's terrible. And yeah, I mentioned an anime before. Now, despite the fact that these have technically been out for practically a year in Japan, the anime is actually not starting until next month. While the anime isn't out yet, there have been a few chapters of a manga released. From what I can tell, it's about a kid named Aoi who uses the Valkyrie as his main top. Aoi is kind of the typical wanna be the very best kind of player. Oh yeah, that's a way better protagonist than a strong hero who chooses to be kind despite his dark and mysterious past. Now, an interesting twist is that in the manga, Aoi's signature ability is the sliding shoot. Now, a few people who are experienced Beybladers will recognize that name, because it is the technique that you are supposed to use when using an attack top. Now, normally when you try to use an attack top just launching it the normal way, it'll just kind of run around the outside of the arena while whatever it's up against lasts at it from the middle. The sliding shoot involves launching it at more of an angle, so that rather than the normal circle around the outside of the arena, it actually creates a sort of flower formation that's constantly stabbing its way at the center. Now, I think that's kind of cool that the manga, at the very least, features techniques that you can use in real life. And the trick about it is that in order to make the character more interesting, this is actually something that Aoi discovered through pure instinct, or perhaps the hand of fate had something to do with it. So that's my birthday special on Beyblade Burst, and frankly, I have kind of mixed feelings on it, so I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Is the Beyblade Burst gimmick totally awesome, or totally stupid? Now, we are going to be seeing a United States release of this sometime at the end of this year, and then a bit at the start of next year for the rest of the world, and there might be some of the anime to come out, which is going to be interesting. It's not going to be terribly far behind the Japanese one, so we're really going to see how it pans out. Until next time, this is Kohdok signing... What? I got something else? So, I wonder what I would have reviewed if the Beyblade hadn't shown up first.